Hi. I'm not even going to waste any time justifying my absence. Just, hello, I'm here. I found an interesting tag, or what'd she say? It was more a form of community engagement. I'm talking about Janaki of Catomancy. She's started I'll call it a tag for simplicity, called Tarot Origin Story. Apparently she's doing, and I've written this down, she's doing dissertation research on contemporary tarot practice. And she's wanting to get people's experiences of how they got into tarot, what their backgrounds are for this dissertation. And YouTube seemed a good way to get people's information. Although if this piques your interest and you want to do it, but you don't want to do a video, she also has a survey that you can fill in and send to her. Obviously, I'll put a link to her original video in the comments, in the description. Oh, I'm out of practice. And I'm also struggling a little bit. Postnasal drip and hay fever, and my throat's just kind of like... See what I mean? It's usually not too bad if I keep talking, which I shouldn't have a problem at all. But you may find a fair few cuts in this video if I manage to get through it at all. Because sometimes it's just, I have to spend a minute or two clearing my throat. It's not fun. Right, I'm just going to get straight into it. Let me refer to my little list. There are 6 questions, and I don't want this to drag on. So, into it. Question number 1. What kind of religious upbringing did you have? My family was irreligious. Is that a word? Yeah. I don't know my father's background at all, but he wasn't interested. We didn't go to church. My mother's background, I know that her mother sent a message to her school when she was young. And now, bearing in mind, this would have been the 40s. Yeah, 40s. Giving her permission not to have religious education class. So they were totally not. On the other hand, my mother had a very deep sense of what I always said, was God, but a higher power, spiritual presence. Mum was conscious of that, and she instilled that in me from an early age. So there was that without the sort of Christian religious context. Right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Had to have a sip of water to clear my throat. So yeah, so basically, that's my background. Just, I've always had that idea that there is a greater power out there. There is more to life than the physical that we live in. So that's that. Question number 2. What was your first exposure to tarot, and how did you get your first deck? I was that kid who would go to the library and read all the weird books in the metaphysical section. I was into that sort of thing. I think because I had this idea that there was more out there, and I wanted to know what it was and how it worked. So I would read the religious books and the religious philosophy books and the kind of fairly out there books. And in one of them, I must have come across tarot. I'd been fairly young at this point. 10, 11, something like that. And that intrigued me. I'll be honest, it was the idea that I could tell the future. Wow, I could read the future in cards. How cool is that? I'd love to be able to do that, And so I took out more books and more books. I didn't get my first deck until I was about 16, I'd say. But I was, reading up everything I could about, card reading prior to that. And the first deck I got was this one, which I have shown before. a school friend of mine, and I don't know where she got it from. She never told me, and I never asked. You know, kids, we don't think, do we? Gave me a beaten up Aquarian tarot. Oh, sorry, I am struggling. I know it's a bit hot in here today, and you know me, I don't do hot. If you've watched any of my other videos, you've seen me melting before. Wicked Witch of the West, I'm melting. Okay, yeah, I mean it's look at the backs. Now, I would have gotten this deck in about 76, 77. The deck only came out in 1970. So even if this is an absolutely first off the press, yeah, they just really, there we go. Yeah, that's it. You don't need to see me. It focuses if I do that. Let me see if I can find, you know, like really, oh God, like this one, this poor star card. Look, it's got a bite out of it. And this is how it came to me. I didn't do any of this because intrigued as I was at that stage with all my book learning, I was like, I don't quite know what I'm doing, and these cards didn't really help. Yeah, it was a bit, I don't know, I just didn't get it. As much as I like the artwork, I love the artwork. In fact, I've since bought myself a nice, tidy copy from the 80s, which I keep up here because I do like the artwork. And now you know, I can actually use it, whereas then it was like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And I didn't like it. It was grubby and blah, 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 blah. So, I took myself to the University Bookstore in Seattle and bought, well, I went intending to buy a tarot deck. Some of you will have heard this story before. I saved up some money. I'd have been about maybe 17 at this point. And I was going to buy a tarot deck. And then I saw another deck that called itself a tarot, but I could tell from the picture on the front that it wasn't a tarot. And that was Morgan's Tarot. There's the backs. Yeah, this is one of the early tangerine-backed ones. And these are the cards. There's a card. Things like that. There is nothing you can do. Love that. This was the picture on the box, actually. And I thought, wow, this is kind of cool. I like this. The war has, what's that? Can't reach that. Oh, reached. The war has reached a critical point between Atlantis and Mu. Just very, very hippie. Well, it's called the hippie tarot. But it's Morgan's Tarot, if I didn't actually say that. I had to have it. So most of my money went to getting this tarot deck, and I ended up buying a little mini Rider-Waite-Smith because I was, So there we go. There's my priorities for you. Right. I started to waffle, and then I thought that what I was actually talking about would probably better saved for one of the later questions. So I'm going to cut that bit out, hopefully reasonably tidily, and we'll move on. Question number 3. Pardon me. When did tarot become a more important part of your practice, and when, if ever, did you stop being a skeptic? What was your moment of tarot conversion like? Tarot became an important part of my practice, like, straight away. That was it. Card reading was my bag. So obviously I had my oracle. I had a little tiny tarot deck that I worked religiously with. I was never a skeptic. I think the whole point was that my worldview allowed for tarot to be a thing, for card reading to work. So I was never skeptical about it. I just always assumed, it worked. If I could, learn what the cards meant, learn what I was doing, what I should be doing, then there's no reason on earth it wouldn't work. So that was that. So there was never any conversion. I was just, I just assumed from the start that it was a thing, and this was going to be it. Right. It became an important part of my practice, if you can call it practice. It's just part of my daily life. But it did wane, over the years, when, getting jobs, moving countries, getting married, blah, blah, blah. There were times when, I didn't touch the cards for months, maybe even years at a time. So it's not like a daily devotional or anything like that, but it's always been, my main hobby. I don't like that word, but my main interest, along with crochet. There you go. Such a girly. Right. Question number 4. When did you start reading for others, or start to read for clients, and why? Or if not, have you ever thought about it? Of course, I'd been, sort of studying about tarot without actually having any cards to use for a number of years. And then I can see my husband peeking through the glass. He obviously didn't see the note I left. He's going. I may cut that out. I may just leave it in. But yeah, where was I? So once I got the deck, I must admit, it was like, what? List of, let's face it, weights, meanings were like, what? So it did take me a while. So I didn't like immediately start reading for friends and family, the minute I got a deck. It was probably a couple of years, actually, perhaps, before, I worked up the courage to, say to somebody at work, or, I read tarot cards, because that was pretty weird in those days. It seems less weird nowadays. Shut up, phone. I'm constantly getting reminders. My life is just one thing after another. So yeah, I just remember bringing my cards along when I went out with the girls from work, and then having to read for everybody over and over again. That was very tiring. I didn't do that too often. I would read for a friend if a friend came around. I'm a very, even at that age, I was a very unsocial person, so that didn't happen very often. But yeah, I would read for other people. I never liked reading for family. I'm not even terribly keen reading for friends. Certainly not now. When I was younger, I was a bit more footloose and fancy-free, but nowadays I'm a bit too, oh no. I don't want to be the person who says, no, it isn't, it won't, it's looking bad. I don't want to be that person. If I don't know you from Adam, okay, you asked for it, that kind of thing. But I didn't start reading for clients, if by clients we mean, people who actually pay money for it, until about 4 years ago. I just put myself out there, Facebook business page, eBay, Etsy, a page on my blog, and I got a few readings. I didn't get many because, I don't have that kind of reach. I don't have that exposure. But I did have a few. But I've pretty much stopped doing that because I don't like the vibe. I don't know. There's something about. I've got absolutely nothing nothing against people who read for money, and I think you absolutely should, because it's a skill, it's a real talent, and you should be paid for it. Absolutely should be paid for it, and paid well. So don't get me wrong. It's not that I don't think I should be paid for it. It's just that it sets up a uncomfortable balance for me. I don't like it. So I just basically don't do it. I would rather just read when I move to read for somebody. I think that's another thing as well. When somebody pays for a reading, I'm not beyond saying, I'm not feeling this. I'm either not connecting with the question, or I'm not connecting with you, or just don't feel right about this. Here's your money back. I'll do that. But at the same time, it's like, okay, I've taken money from this person. They want a reading. Yeah, I would rather just do it when I'm when the universe connects me with somebody who, for whatever reason wants a reading, which is why I troll Facebook groups, looking for people who want a reading. Once in a blue moon, someone will actually post a question, because that's what I want. I don't, just want to read for, oh, can I have a reading, please? Like, I'm bored and I've got nothing else to do today and I'll have somebody give me a reading. No. But if you come on Facebook and you take the trouble to formulate an actual question, I might read for you. So I did read for clients. I'm not reading for clients. I'll read for strangers. I prefer to read for strangers, I suppose. That's probably part of my, introvert, unsociable, I don't want to be too connected with anybody sort of feeling. Hang on, something just popped up on my screen, which I shall attempt to minimize. There it went. Okay. Yeah, that was probably too much information as well. How long is this getting? Probably way too long. 5. What are some of your qualities from your background that make you a good reader? That is, what do you bring to the table as a reader, and what do you think your tarot superpower is? Well, I didn't realize when I was young, because my mother showed no interest whatsoever, was that my grandmother read cards. She read playing cards and a little fortune-telling deck that's similar to Lenormand, but isn't. And I didn't know, and she read coffee grounds as well. I knew nothing of this until one day I just sort of mentioned to my mother that I might just be interested in tarot cards. And she was like, oh, you too? I said, what? So there is that. So I think I have a bit of heritage there. But also, and this goes back to that oracle deck I found. This deck came with no instructions whatsoever. Nothing. It was literally just a deck of cards with some weird pictures, weird phrases. Where is it? Well, make what you will of that one. That kind of thing. And I loved it. And I would, pull a card or two with with my mind on a certain thing, or maybe with a question, or just to get, I don't know, whatever. And I would pull a card. And because of this basic assumption I have that this works, therefore, if I pull a card, it means something, and that, and I've just got to, sit with it and figure out what it means to me. And I've got nobody telling me it should mean this, or it should mean that, or it might mean this, or it might, just, it's over to you. I got on really well. I love this one. Tomato, potato, eggplant. Yeah. I got on really well with this deck. Yeah, probably. But I didn't realize what I was doing at that time, because at that time I was still studying tarot and pulling cards in this tarot deck and trying to make sense of them, and trying to make sense of them in positional spreads, because that's how you read tarot. You did a Celtic cross, or you did a past, present, future. And I'd have, all of these, well, okay, well, this card can mean this, or 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 this. And that card can mean these things. And how do I make sense of this? How am I supposed to be doing this? And it took me a very, very, very long time before I made the connection between what I was doing with the oracle cards and what I could do, or what I should be doing with the tarot cards. So I struggled for quite some time. But now I feel like I'm past that. I'm over that. I kind of worked it out. There's a bit more backstory to that, but I don't want to go into this. This is already way too long. There goes my throat again. But what was I going to say? So, but I think my superpower is just that I trust the process. Right. Sorry. Another sip of water. Cut to the chase. I just trust the process, and I just go with it. I just go with whatever I get, and trust that, That's what we're all supposed to be getting. Final question. When did you get into TarotTube? What is your relationship with tarot and social media? I think I got into TarotTube about 2012. It was when I was actually more looking up stuff about Lenormand, because that's when I started studying Lenormand. And actually that and playing cards were the extra bit I didn't talk about, that actually gave me that kick to say, you don't need to be reading tarot like that. You can be reading tarot like you read other cards. Right. Sorry, I'm back again. I'd spent so much time coughing that I'd used up my 30 minutes of recording allotment. I'm using Zoom for this. So I had to come back and sort of refilm the last little bit. That was on the last question. I was talking about my sort of, what was the question? Let's have a look at it again. Relationship with tarot. What is your relationship with tarot and social media? Yeah, so I graduated from watching Lenormand videos to watching tarot videos, and that's what got me, as I said, that was the time when I kind of got back into tarot again. Yeah, yeah, that's YouTube. Social media, generally, I'm in a few groups on Facebook. I kind of keep my distance from Facebook. I don't like to spend too much time there, so I dip in and out. There's a couple of groups I'm probably a bit more active in than others. And as I said earlier, I troll a few, free reading groups to see if there's anybody I can read for. That's always kind of fun. And there's Instagram. I follow a few people on Instagram. But again, that's more of a time killer. It's just nice to see the pictures and maybe read a little something, see what people are doing. That's really very social. But yeah, having said that, really, social media is my only connection to other tarot peeps, because I've got nobody in real life who's the least bit interested. There's nobody around here. None of my friends are, well, what family I have now, because I'm old. I'm an orphan. I've got no family. So yeah, if I want a tarot fix, I have to find it online, basically. But yeah, no, I'm starting to waffle, so I'm not going to waffle. That's the end of that. Yeah, and I think I pretty much ended it like I'm going to end it now, which is to say, you know what, I'm done. It's been good to see you. I'm still not comfortable doing videos, which is why, I don't do this very often. So, you might see me again soon. You might not. Anyway, I gotta go tack this ending back onto the other bit of film now. So, gotta go. Bye!